What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? We're here with the RBX10 Ryft from Axial. We're going to do an unboxing and kind of a buying guide of what you should expect your Ryft to come with, kind of the specifics of the Ryft, the electronics, what the vehicle looks like, and how it's going to come out of the box. So let's get into it. All right, so first things first, we got to get it out of this box. So let's open her up. Quite big box. I did already kind of unpackage everything just to make this go a little bit smoother. I'm going to set that over there and pop this guy out. This is just what holds the vehicle in. Turn this on the side here. So this is what your box is going to look like. Your controller is of course going to be wrapped up in a plastic bag, but I had already unpackaged it just to make this go a little faster. So we'll take this stuff out here and get into the specifics of the Ryft. Option parts bag, toss that off the side, we don't need it. So first, general manual, you've got AA batteries that come for your Spectrum DX3, a couple general tools that you might need for the Ryft, and so on. Make sure you go through this manual so you know how to run your vehicle, what kind of battery it's going to take, and that sort of thing. So now that we have our Ryft out of the box, we're going to kind of go over what's inside of the Ryft, kind of the power plant of what comes with the Axial Ryft. So it's going to come with the Spectrum Firma ESC and motor combination. It's a 130 amp ESC with a 2200 kV brushless motor, and that is 4S capable. We'd probably recommend running 3S right out of the box so you can get used to the way it drives, or you can just go all the way in and run 4S right away, whatever you choose. It does come with a Spectrum ABC receiver, and you pair that with your Spectrum DX3. The receiver does have telemetry, so if you run a smart battery, you can get the voltage back from the ESC, and it'll actually show up on light indicators here on your transmitter, which is really cool. So when you're driving, you can just look down at your transmitter, see how much battery you have remaining. Very cool option. And then you can also go ahead and download that Spectrum dashboard app on your Android device, and you can get all sorts of telemetry, you know, motor temperature, ESC temperature, and so on, just from having that whole smart ecosystem of products. All right, now moving on to more of the aesthetics of the Axial Ryft. Now, this comes in two trim schemes, the black and green version like we have here, and then the orange and blue version like you can see here on the box. Now, we chose this black and green version. Looks a little bit more scale in my opinion. Maybe we'll add some scale accessories in the future, but I'm a little bit more fan of the black and green version. Moving on to the wheels, these are coming with licensed Raceline wheels and Interco TLS Bogger tires. Very beefy tires, pretty squishy, maybe a little soft in my opinion, but I haven't driven the vehicle yet, so I can't give how the tires feel on the dirt or on the rocks at this time. They do have rotors and pistons inside of the wheel, not working of course, just to add to that scale realism and looks. Big old silver shocks with little shock boots at the bottom. Looks very realistic, nice cool look. Scale diff covers on both the rear and the front axle makes the aesthetic look very nice. And of course you do have your driver cockpit with the stock dash stickers in there, and your gas tank, which is going to house your receiver and all that jazz. So very cool looking vehicle, Rock Bouncer. You can definitely make it look more scale in my opinion, but that's for another video. All right, moving on to the performance of the Axial Ryft. Now, it does have front and rear solid axles, but it comes with open diffs front and rear as well. So you can fill those with oil or grease, going to help with the handling of the vehicle, a little bit of a tuning aspect there. And then it's going to have 4-link suspension and independent shocks. So you're going to have 130 mil of travel up front and 145 millimeters of travel in the rear. Definitely going to help with your performance. It's going to land nice and squishy. Springs look very scale. It's got little orange boots on the bottom of the shocks to make them look even more presentable and more scale realism. All right, let's talk about the size of this Axial Ryft. Now, it says it's 10 scale, but that's 10th the scale of the full Rock Bouncer that this was scaled after. To me, it's more of an A-scale sized vehicle. Comparing it to an A-scale buggy nitro or electric buggy, around that size. It's got a ground clearance of 82 millimeters. Now that is in the center of the chassis. The axle pumpkins are a little bit lower to the ground, but still high enough to definitely get over some big chunky rocks. It's got a total height of 222 millimeters, so that's just to the top of the roll cage. Just very tall sitting on these 2.2 tires, very big vehicle. The length of the Ryft itself is 546 millimeters, and the wheelbase is 387 millimeters. So the tires definitely add a little bit more length there, make it more stable for sure. And it's going to come in at a weight of about 7 pounds. So, and that's including a battery. So it's got some weight to it for sure. Of course, it varies if you're going to add a 3S or a 4S battery, but it's definitely got some weight to it. Going to get moving pretty quick and fast. I'm excited to see this thing bouncing off some rocks. Now, getting into more internals on this Axial Ryft, specifically the gearing. It's an all metal gear transmission, including the ring and pinions that are in the axles. The spur gear is going to be 53 tooth and the pinion is 17 tooth. Now, that gearing is more for 4S, so if you plan on running this vehicle on 3S, I would recommend upping that pinion count a little bit to, say, 19 or 20 pinion count, just because it comes stock with a little bit lower pinion to keep the heat a little bit lower for that 4S capability. So getting into some ease of access things with this Axial Ryft, the battery cover, you just remove 2 body pins and this flap will flip up, slide your battery in there, Velcro it down, plug it into your IC5 lead. Move on to your on-off switch, which is actually screwed to the back of the gear cover, so it's not going anywhere. No need to worry about that flapping around, accidentally turning off or turning on for some weird reason. Definitely not going to get hit by any rocks. It's in the back of the vehicle, high enough off the ground where you're not going to be worried about getting it hit. Now, some option parts for this Axial Ryft. You can obviously, change the tires, scale it out a little bit, change the wheels, but more of some performance upgrades that I would probably do is a rear sway bar on this. There's a rear sway bar that is available for the Axial Ryft, and probably a new servo and a servo horn. These big tires, that servo saver that's on there, it's just got a lot of slop to it, and I just see it wearing out in the future. So aluminum servo horn, beefier servo, you'll be ready to go and enjoying your Axial Ryft in no time. So that's about it for the Axial Ryft. Covered quite a bit with this new vehicle. Now, if you guys want to see anything happening with this Axial Ryft, kind of maybe what scale accessories you recommend or video ideas you want to see, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.